Well, we back in the building, man. We back in the building, man. Y'all already know what time it is, man. Welcome to the Ferguson Chronicles, man, aka Dayroom Talk, right? I'm gonna wait for a few minutes, man. See what let the people get in, man. Other than that, uh, for those that didn't watch the real street stars, man, my interview the other day, man, go check it out. And another thing, remember to go to www.com OG Hollywood Speaks and get that Savage Drive gear, man. Yep. So we in the building, man. In the building. Come on in, man. We got 5 and we can do better than that, man. Got 5 in the house. We can do better than that, man. Let's get the numbers up, man. Yeah, we got an exclusive, man. Normally we'll have all dudes in the day room. Today it's not like that. Y'all seen what's in the title, man. Queen Shu is here to tell her story, man. Like I always say, this is the People's Channel, man. And you don't even have to be been in prison to be on this show, man. All you gotta do is have a story to tell or want to get some informative information, man. Come on over. First lady that ever grazed the screen in the day room, man. What y'all think about that? This some trending shit, man. And that's what we do, man. We set trends, man. Authentic. Can't be copied. Yeah, we're gonna wait for a few more minutes, man, to see what the numbers look like, man. But I will say this. Respect the queen that's in the house. Respect the queen. As if you want somebody to respect your mother. And that's facts. Let's go, man. We can do better than that, man. We're going to wait a few more minutes, man, and see what happens. Let's get them numbers where they're supposed to be at. And that's facts. Couple more minutes, man. We're going to get this thing started, man. This real life day room time right here, man. I mean some relaxing day room shit. Not that back and forth. You know what I'm saying? This is what it takes sometimes. Yeah. To get them egos back in check. And that's facts. In the meantime, between times, y'all hit that like button, man. Hit that like button. What's up, 409? Y'all hit that like button. Hit that like button. Let's get on in there, man. See what we can do. Oh, and by the way, y'all already know I run in and out. But the only person get in the day room tonight is a woman. If you're a woman, you're welcome to the day room. And you can also ask questions at the end of this, man. The floor will be open for questions. As long as they're appropriate questions. I ain't gonna stand for no disrespect, man, at all. And that's facts. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's make it happen. About a couple more minutes, man. Couple more minutes. Couple more minutes. I just told you I ain't gonna stand for that, man. So guess what? Bye. Let's go. All right, man, we going in, man. Let me see what I can do right here. Let's make it happen. Queen Shu in the building. What's going on, Queen?
Nothing much.
Oh man, they've been waiting on this, man. This is kind of unregular for day room talk, but man, like I said, like I always tell the people, this is the People's Channel, man. So anybody's welcome here to come tell their story and even ask questions if they want to know something, right?
Yes, there. I'm open to answer any questions they ask me.
So let me ask you this, right? I got a call from you last week,
Uh-huh.
and you seen King Shu interview,
Yes.
and so you felt the need to come forward with your story, which
Right.
is his story, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna do that today. Uh,
Okay.
First and foremost, like I said, welcome to the channel, and you the first lady that ever graced the screen of the Ferguson Chronicles as far as Dayroom talk. So I salute that.
Thank you.
No problem. So what I want you to do as of now, I know it's Queen Shu on the writing. Go ahead and just give people a small overview of who you are, so they can become familiar with you in first name basis versus Queen Shu.
My name is Ashley Eccles. I am Queen Shu, aka I am. I've been with him for about 5 years now, and basically, I am the person that kind of stands behind everything. And here I am, debuting.
And that's facts. So let me ask you this,
Okay.
Queen Shu, uh, on an everyday basis, because sometimes people come to the screen, have occupation, some don't have occupation, right? Some people got occupation, some people got careers, right?
Right.
So I want to ask you, what is your career?
I'm a nurse.
Uh, how long have you been a nurse?
I've been in that field for over 6 years now.
And being a nurse, so this is just me and my opinion. In order for individuals to be a nurse, they have to have a care for other people, right?
I, that's my passion. I love helping people. I love being around people. Anything I can do to help anybody. I don't care if it was somebody off the streets. I'm gonna do it.
So let me ask this: so, in your life, right?
Hmm.
Who has in your life been the biggest influence in your life as far as decision making?
As far is it just one person, or can I say two?
Oh, this is your story.
For my decision making, I can honestly say my first one is my mom. Love her to death. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be who I am today. My second one would be with, believe it or not, it'd be my sister. She's my middle sister. Love you, Nikki. She's always there to help me. And one thing about her, she always makes sure that I keep God first.
Facts. So let me ask this: uh, King Shu, right?
King Shu.
What did you think about King Shu when you first saw him?
It's a funny story, but we'll leave the whole story for another day. When I first met him, he came out here. He was actually living in Houston, and we met up. And my first, when I met him, he was at his mom's house. She was very loving. When I walked in, he was a very, very observant person. I could tell he was observing me. He was very. You could tell that he was a loving person, but very distant. He was more of trying to figure out my motives with him. So I kind of understood it, I guess you could say, because I know I've been through a lot in my life, but we didn't know each other. Honestly, he didn't really just know that, okay, it'll be me. So it fell into place. I'll put it like that.
Now, this is what I want to ask you, right? Uh,
Okay.
Blue Hands is a well-known figure
Yeah.
on in PA and on the internet,
Hmm.
right? When you first heard some of his peers describe him as Blue Hands, what came to mind?
I honestly didn't know who he was. That's what's so crazy. It's like everybody said he's my you know how you get that oil and water, but it don't mix. But for us, we're like Kool-Aid and water. We gonna mix. But I honestly did not know who he was. Maybe I found out from like stories along the way. And I honestly, we had been dating a whole year before I even knew who Blue Hands was. And I looked at him and I was like, who's Blue Hands? And he just bust out laughing. And I'm like, okay, he laughing at me. Who is that? And he finally told me. I don't think that was some things that he didn't want me to know. You know, how you just don't know how your woman to take that person and knowing who that person really is. So he didn't let me know at first.
So we're gonna stay right there for a minute with the name Blue Hands. It comes a lot with that meaning crip, right?
Yes. Yes.
And the hands part meaning that he can defend himself very well at all costs, right?
Oh yes.
Did anywhere in your mind that you think that it will come to a point where Blue Hands would show up with Queen Shu as far as from a physical aspect?
No, honestly, no. Blue Hands is Blue Hands. A lot of people know Blue Hands. Me, on the other hand, I know Damien. I've never, and it's crazy to say, even though I know the stories about him, I've never been afraid ever. Like, you know how some stories will literally scare a woman off. I've never encountered a time where I was afraid of him, even on up to me knowing who he was.
So, you know, most women have images in their mind when they first meet a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that a man is different from a man that's been in society versus being incarcerated, right?
Yes.
So, what was the first image immediately come in your mind when you think of King Shu?
First thing that come to my mind when they said King Shu, run. Run.
Reason being?
Yeah, run. But I don't know. I can honestly say I can feel like there was nobody but God. Because me, honestly, I've never been the type to date a person that has been incarcerated. So that was very new to me. And but I wanted to leave, but I don't know what it was. It was something about him that never wanted me to leave. It was just like stay, stay. So I literally stayed with King Shu, and I got to know him. I got to know King Shu. I got to know P Shu. I got to know Blue Hands, and I got to know Damien.
And I know this might be somewhat difficult, but out of all the names that you've named,
Mm-hmm.
what is different between those three individuals? Those names, meaning character.
Okay, character-wise. Pishu is somebody I definitely would never want to ever come back. That's somebody I never want to meet. King Shu is a person, he is the life of the party. Damien is loving, caring, give you the shirt off his back. So I would rather Damien. Yeah.
And back to that question, that answer you gave me when you said you've never ever dated a man that has been incarcerated, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm quite sure you've dated other men before you've met King Shu, right?
Yeah.
What is the difference between dating a man that has been incarcerated versus dating a man that has never been incarcerated, in your personal opinion?
My personal opinion, this is only coming from my aspect. I'm a tough cookie to deal with. I won't lie about that. To be honest, Damien is the only person that could actually, he taught me what love really was. I'll say that.
So do you feel like it's kind of like riding a horse? And where I'm going with this is that sometimes men getting out of prison can be very, very hard to deal with.
He
Right?
was.
If you don't mind sharing that, with us in the viewers, because some people might be going through what you went through. How did you wind up winning the confidence and respect of King Shu?
I never gave up on him. Even when people wanted me to give up on him, even when I felt that I should have given up on him, I wouldn't give up on him. It's it's a it's a thing when you sit there and us women. What we have to understand is that no matter what relationship you're in, you're going to have difficulties. You either going to run and go and be in another relationship, and if you're going to continue to do that, you're going to be in a lot of relationships. So my thing is that, okay, I understand that this was a lost man. I can't blame him for what he has been through. I can only stand by him and let him know that I'm not going nowhere. And through it all, I stuck by his side. And honestly, he really stuck by my side as well. It was just more of two people not giving up on each other. So to the world and to women that are going through what I am going through, just learn to pray. Pray more than you can ever imagine. Prayer works, and continue to just love your man and love who he is, and you'll see change.
And if you don't mind me asking you, because this is important for people that's listening to this to know that there will be outside influences, right?
Oh yeah.
And there will be things said. So if you can remember, what were some of those things that were said to you?
Uh, I'll name one. I had where they when they figured out who I was, I had them. They were in my inbox, like left and right. I had one in woman sit and literally send me pictures of you know him and her, and it went left a little bit, and it's kind of disturbing to see that with the man that you're with. But I feel like me and him, we handle it as adults. But that's one thing that was kind of like it was a shift. I'll say that it was a shift in our relationship.
And I'm going to ask you this question because I know, regardless of whether a man or a woman, let me rephrase that, whether a man been to prison or you haven't been to prison, right?
Mhm.
In each and every relationship, it's going to be ups and downs, right?
Oh yeah.
And what do y'all do in this relationship versus you've never dated a man out of prison and him spending a lot of time in prison? So when the relationship seems like it's going down, what do we do?
I pray. And I always, and what one thing you have to understand is some friends aren't your friends. You have to keep the negative out. You have to have those friends that are going to motivate you. When you have motivation and you have that, I'll say, you have that godly person in your life, they motivate you. They don't tell you to run. They don't tell you to go out and let's go to the club and do this and let's do that. They actually tell you how to go about it and how to talk to someone that's out of prison. Because a lot of men that have been in prison, they don't know how to actually communicate with you and to communicate with anyone. So it's a challenge. And when you have those motivators behind you, then it's easier for you to come to the person that you're with and talk to them about it. So we are working on communication. And it's been a long ride, but I mean, to be honest, it's so much better. It's amazing now.
So now I'm going to ask you this question because, like I said, King Shu has been on the internet for quite some time, and he's a well-known figure on here, right?
Yes.
And the internet itself is sometimes it works for you, and sometimes it works against you,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And when you become somewhat of a success story, people say things and not good things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, as the behind the scenes person, deal with that when you see that, knowing that in some type of way it affects him? How do you deal with that?
Like I let him. Well, I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet. Like I tell him, no, there is no bad publicity. All publicity is good publicity, no matter what. You have to look at it like that. You can't let the naysayers get to you. For one, I mean, you're gonna have people that are gonna say really rotten things about me when you're on the internet, and that's what just comes with the stepping stone. That's what comes with your dynasty. Not everybody's gonna love you. You're gonna have people that hate you. So you just have to continue to push on and look and act like it's not even there.
Blue Hands has a I would say not a celebrity lifestyle, but it's not a boring lifestyle because he's known outside of PA, right?
Yes.
At do at some time and point do his lifestyle become distracted in the relationship?
Yes.
And what is your quick fix for that, if it's one?
Instead of me what I've learned is I used to be the person to sit and just not say anything, and then the next thing you know, we're kind of having like a disagreement about situations. But what I learned to do was when it is becoming a problem, I always sit and tell him, hey, babe, let's take a weekend for just me and you and let us just hang out. So he understands where I'm coming from with it, because he knows that, okay, my woman isn't getting the attention at the point that she needs. So it's never a no, I'm not doing it. He'll stop whatever it is he's doing and okay, let's take this weekend and let's go. So it's a fix. It's an easy fix.
Now, I want to touch on this because I noticed you said something, right? And it's going to add dialogue to this right here, right?
Okay.
I noticed you said it wasn't getting enough attention, right?
Yeah.
You, as being the other half of King Shu, how much attention is required? Let me say this. How much attention do you need?
Not a lot. You could take the weekend and just hang with me. I understand his lifestyle. I understand what comes with it. I know that it's going to be times where when he's on the road, I will not be able to be with him. So I respect it. And I know that regardless on the fact of wherever he is, he's going to respect me. So I have no problem with it. It's just more of the only thing that I say when it comes to attention wise is let's just shut off our phones and let's just hang and talk to each other. That's our bonding moment. We laugh, we do the crying, whatever it is that I need to do to let out and vent. He gonna let me do it, and he'll give me his input the best he can. Yeah.
So I know sometimes this can be a worry to a woman that's dating a man that has been incarcerated, because I have a wife too, and
Yeah.
I get the same thing. And do you ever worry when you leave out the house?
I stop.
What are your fears when Shoo walk out of the door, knowing that he's been through what he's been through?
I have no fears. Every time he leaves, I'm always praying. Before he leaves the house, I pray. So anything, I know he's shielded. I know God has him. So I literally, I never worry. I never ever worry. Not one particular time. Well, maybe once. That was like maybe back in 2020. That's when it was kind of like his life was shifting. But I never worry anymore. I always pray for him before he leaves the house. I feel like the most important thing, no matter what, as a woman, make sure you're praying. And that's what I do. So I don't worry about him when he leaves at all.
I will say this, and it's a question that I can ask in confidence,
Okay.
I am who I am. Shoo is a fairly handsome guy, right?
Very handsome.
And at any point when he leaves your sight, do you feel like the relationship will be threatened by any other female? Or does that cross your mind as a woman?
Not anymore. Not anymore. Now, me being honest with you, it used to. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say like me and Shu have not had our ups and downs. We have. I mean, I would be a lie if I say I didn't. We've had a lot of ups and downs with each other. And I used to feel threatened a little bit. I worried. Honestly, I didn't think that we would make it as far as we have made it. And with the things that have transpired. But what I will say is even in it, well, there were times when, I'm like, well, I don't think this is gonna work. We're gonna have to go ahead and just, because I'm worrying too much. I shouldn't feel this way. And he wouldn't give up on me. And that was one thing that I didn't understand, because I know how King Shu is, and he's not the type to stick around. He's not going to stick around. If he feels like you don't want to be there, he's like, okay, well, bye. But with me, it was different, I can say. And I don't know what it was about me, but he wouldn't give up. So we stayed.
In your life right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the significant difference between King Shu and the other guys that you've been involved with?
He is he's pretty quiet on certain relationship problems and issues I might have. Sometimes you don't get the same communication. Other men that I have dated, they communicate. They you can tell them something, they're gonna they tell you exactly what you're feeling, and they can reciprocate off of that. With him, you don't get the reciprocation from him. I think that's more of something he's built. As a wall he has built, and I understand it. So instead of him saying it, he will literally do it. His actions will speak more than words. So that's the difference.
I always hear this, that and this is and this coming from a page from my wife's book, even when I was released, right?
Uh-huh.
She said you can always be who you are without the criminal activity.
Right.
I only ask you one thing: never to lose your swag. Right. So
Right.
I want to ask you, who do King Shu remind you of? And it doesn't have to be somebody from your past life. It could be somebody that you admired when you was growing up.
My daddy. He reminds me of my daddy. He does. My father is he has a wild side to him as well. Love him to death, but he was kind of different, and a certain things that Shu does, it does remind me of my daddy. My father he's not one that's been in my life all the it's been a while. It's been years, to be honest, since I've but he reminds me of my daddy.
Being though you said that and you backed it up saying that he hasn't been in your life in a while, right? And
Yes.
I know sometime when that's vacant, right? Women tend to turn to, just like you did, guys that remind them of their father, right? I will say this: if a woman was thinking about dating a man out of prison, right?
Uh-huh.
because so many women are terrified of men that's getting out of prison. Why? Because they think backwards and think that the man past will come over to the relationship and it will somewhat affect the relationship. And not only that, it'll be just like the outside voices saying, girl, no, don't do that.
Right.
What is your advice to a woman that's thinking like that?
Don't always think like that. To be honest, men that have been to prison, I've seen where they've came out and gotten married and changed their whole lives. So just because they've been to prison does not mean that. I mean, anybody that has been to prison, that does not make you just a bad person. It's just some. It's just that some things that they've gotten themselves into, and they had to pay the price for it. My thing is I had to stop judging. You cannot judge it because I mean you're not the creator. So I stopped judging people by what I'm seeing or what I think I'm seeing. And I've actually learned to let people in and get to know them first. And that was what I did with Shoo. I got to know who he was and understand him. And a lot of people don't think that because I don't talk about what we go through or they don't feel like we fit but I've gotten to know who Shoo was for myself, not for what anybody else has said. So women that feel that they want to run from men that have been to prison, it's probably the best man you ever have in your life, to be honest. I mean, especially if you're single. I'm not saying just run out and go find you a man that's been to prison, but I'm one that understands, what it takes patience though, especially with a man that has been in prison for so long. You have to have patience.
So if you were in a crowd of women, right,
Uh-huh.
and this conversation was being held, right,
Yeah.
and somebody was debating on getting involved, and you hear this, knowing that you are involved with Shoo, right,
Right.
and would you see something, and I mean, would you say something? It's kind of like see something, say something,
Yeah.
or would you just sit on the sideline and say nothing?
Oh no, I pull it to the side myself. I wouldn't like tell her in front of her friends, but of course me, I'm a people person. If I can help, I'm a help. And I pull it to the side and let her know, of course, that I mean it's not so bad. You can go out and have you like a public park date, talk, walk, get to understand who he is. See, what people need to understand is people that have been to prison, you don't understand what they have been through. You have to get to know that person and understand what they've been through in order for them to love you how you want to be loved. They don't know. That's something that they wasn't taught in jail. So you have to understand them. That's all it takes.
From your personal opinion, right? And we all going on opinions, right? We are not,
Mhm.
Specialists, even though I have the degree I have, I'm still not a specialist. But I will say this, that a man getting out of prison after spending a substantial amount of time, right?
Right.
Even though he puts on a persona as if he's not somewhat traumatized, right? From
Right.
from the situation that he's been through, right?
Yeah.
Uh, what do you say about that?
When you're okay, I'll say this. When you are in tune with the person that you're with, especially if you're a woman and you really evaluating and trying to understand the person that you're with, you'll see it no matter what. I mean, I know that mine was traumatized by a lot of things that happened in prison that he will not tell me about. But with that, like I said, with that type of lifestyle that he has been through, it takes you to love that person. So what I do with him is I'll sit and I'll just ask him certain little questions and it comes out. And like I tell him, that's not who you are. So, and I don't want to take him back by asking him that back to that day or whatever happened. So I always, after he's told me And if it's a drift off, you could tell by if they're drifting off by when they're talking to you about certain things that have happened in prison. You could tell. So, well, like I always do, that's not who you are now. So, you're a king's kid, and you're loved by God. So don't worry about that. That doesn't define you. I
So
always do it.
prison as a whole, right?
Yes.
Prison as a whole, right?
Yes.
Uh, do you think that
Hold on just a second. Okay.
so prison as a whole, right?
Uh-huh.
And I know sometimes prison is needed, right?
Sometimes it is. It takes prison for you to sit and evaluate your life.
Uh, at what time and point do you feel like family should step in?
Into my life?
No, as far as when a person, because you have a lot of people in prison, right?
Uh-huh.
They write them off. So that's why.
Family,
So that's why.
family,
Go ahead.
family should step in right away, because that is the most difficult time of a person's life. Like, I know that myself. So all families should step in immediately, even if it doesn't take time. You could sit there and just go ahead and just send a letter or two. Just tell them you love them, a card. Just let them know that you're there. That goes a long way with a person.
And I ask you this, because I know a percentage of all Black families have somebody that's incarcerated, right?
Yeah.
And you can answer this, or you can, decline the answer, right? Because
Okay.
have you ever experienced anybody in your family being incarcerated other than King Shu?
Yes. He did 11 years.
And what part did you play in assisting him while he was in prison?
Reminding him that I love him. I was the niece that always wanted her uncle. And that was one uncle that I just never thought would go. And certain things took place in his life to where it happened, and I was in disbelief. But no matter what, he stayed in touch, and I never not told him that I didn't love him.
Let me ask you this. So, what do you say best describes you and King Shu relationship? If you had to use one word or scenario.
Epic.
Meaning?
It's epic because the reason why I say epic is because a lot of people, they doubt us. So what he always says to me, they just don't know this is going to be epic. So it's epic. It's something that I've became accustomed to when it comes to him. No matter what, we always let each other know we're not going nowhere. And he's my favorite person.
So, do at times you find yourself protecting King Shu from the outsiders?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Give me an example.
There are certain things that a woman would see that a man don't see, and certain things that the outside world or people want him to do and go, and I'll just kind of, no, baby, I don't think you should. He'll listen. He'll stay there, and the next day we'll find out why. And I'll let him know, well, baby, that's what I seen. I didn't want you around that person because of that situation. And he's like, I kind of figured that. I'm gonna always do that, no matter what.
And I know sometimes a man can come home and get involved with a woman and the family disapproves,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
In this scenario, did that ever happen?
Never. His family was very loving to me. When I first met his mom, she was really sweet. I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little afraid of meeting. I was nervous, and then he was like, "Hey, I want you to meet my sisters," and I was like, "Okay." So we went to his sister's house. They were open armed to me, and since then have been open armed to me. So I've never gotten a disapproval from him.
So, uh, from an emotional standpoint, right? Have you ever seen Shoo be emotional?
No,
Never.
never.
Uh, I know you didn't know him then, but you know him now, right?
Right.
Uh, do you feel like he's equipped to handle society?
Yes, definitely. He is. He's a lot of things that people think shoot. I don't know if people like kind of if they kind of think that Shu is a little disqualified in certain aspects of learning things. But I've seen where this man has sat there and accomplished so much, and it kind of surprises me on certain things because he'll sit there and say he does not know how to do it. Next thing you know, he's doing it. Um, Honestly, he doesn't act like an institutionalized person. When if he not even told me that he had been in prison that long, I wouldn't have never thought it or known it because he doesn't act like it.
And I will say this. Let me ask you this, since you brought that up, right?
Hmm.
Uh, have you ever seen a person act institutionalized?
Yes.
And could you describe that to me, how that person acts?
So from a person that you have seen in the world, and if they've been gone for years, it's totally different. They act distant. They act like they have to. It's like a paranoid thing. It's like it's always like somebody's out to get them, and it's a little, you know, and they don't know how to deal with society, and so certain parts of them give up. And I've seen it, and I'm like that. I can tell that they're very institutionalized, and it's a hard thing to break. To be honest, it really is because you're growing up on the inside. You don't really know about society and what is going on outside, so it's a totally different world for them. And then stepping out and seeing this, that's like Disneyland to them. And I understand them and I totally get it. It's just more of mind over matter. Don't let that get to you, because once you step out, you have to know that this isn't me. This wasn't me in the beginning and when I was in there. So this isn't me when I step out. And when they get that installed in their heads, you wouldn't feel that way. You just have to learn. You got to let go of the inside and know that, okay, I'm outside. I'm out here for a purpose, and know your purpose. Let God guide you to that purpose. You can live a free life.
Now, like I said, we both don't have facts, but we are human and we see, right?
Right.
So we're only going on opinions, and
Okay.
and there will be facts after it's over.
Right.
Why do you think so many men return back to prison?
Return back to prison because they don't know how to survive out in the world. Nobody's trying to teach them how to survive out in the world. If you look at it, when you get out, the only thing they're doing is sending you to your parole officer. Find you a job in 30 or 90 days, or you're going back. You still feeling like you're in prison. And then when you finally step out and you're trying to, okay, well, what's my first step? They don't know the first step. They don't know how to communicate with people. They don't know how to meet people. The only people that they knew were in jail. Nobody's there to help. If they had more people and understand that, let's get caseworkers or, you know, anybody that can actually help people live in society, I feel like it'll be a better place, especially for men that are getting out of jail.
Let me ask you this. This is just hypothetically, right? You've been with King Shu for quite some time, like you said, right?
Yes.
And if things happen to go bad and King Shu wind up back in prison, what do?
I'm staying right there. I'm right there with him, no matter what. And I'm going to do exactly what I need to do to make sure that he knows that he is loved and that his woman is there for him. And she's going to be right there in front of those gates when it's time for him to get out.
Facts, been there.
Yeah.
For the women that exit stage left after the man goes to prison, what do you have to say to them?
Yeah, I never loved him anyway. No man can, when you're in love and you know what love is and you know what love stands for, there's no man, no amount of money can make you move away from who you love. So you never really loved him anyway. It was just you being complacent there. And when you feel complacent of being there, yeah, you're going to stick around. But in the first thing that happens, you move, you didn't love him. And that's just me being honest with you women. I'm sorry.
Real life people, real life stories, and you can't get that nowhere here but at the Ferguson Chronicle, where Queen Shoo is the first lady to ever graze the screen of the Ferguson Chronicle. In other words, what I'm saying, she's here to let the people know that King Shu is everything he say he is to her.
Yeah, he is.
And the outsiders doesn't matter. So that's why we're here. So if you had one word to say to King Shu that you've never ever said before, what would that be?
You're my world. That's something I never wanted to say because I've always had a walled up. I mean, my wall has always been on certain levels because of what I've been through. But I will say it for the first time on an OG Hollywood show. You're my world. That's something you'll never have to worry about. It's me leaving. I love you for you. And I wouldn't change you, not one bit.
Once again, real life people, real life story. You can't get that nowhere else but here at the Ferguson Chronicle, where we hit different. Today is different. What I want to do, I want to invite King Shu to the stage. But before I do that, I want to open the floor for any questions. Does anybody in the chat have any questions for Queen Shu? So you got one guy say, but I'm gonna read this question
Okay.
because I know you're more than equipped to challenge this question.
Okay.
He said, I disagree with that last comment, but I can dig it.
Okay, so why do you disagree?
He couldn't come back with nothing. And that's what they normally do. So Richard Weatherspoon says, what do you mean by she's a tough cookie to deal with? That part.
Not in a crazy way. I'm more of the type, I'm gonna challenge you. I'm gonna challenge everything that you do. I'm gonna challenge you to be great. I'm gonna challenge you to stand on whatever you tell me you're gonna stand on. The first thing that you tell me is what I'm gonna challenge you on. Because I know me. I'm a loving person. And once I love you, there is no more going to anyone. So therefore, that's what I meant by tough cookie. It's no piggybacking on anything that you say to me or say you're going to do. We're going to get it and we're going to do it. So that's what I meant.
Facts. Has anybody else got any questions? So Birmingham said, OG Hollywood, let Miss Shoo know Birmingham, Alabama admire her and humble support through her unit.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Is there any more questions from the chat? Any more questions from the chat?
Thank you.
Facts. We can make that happen.
That's fine. I'm open to it.
So anybody? So Miss City, Black Love.
Thank you.
So Plexico said, who's been winning the fight?
You want me to be honest?
Yeah, this is tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I win the fights, but I only win because he if I'm gonna sit there, I don't raise my voice at him. That's another thing. We don't raise our voices at each other. So if he feels like I'm raising my voice at him, he will not say anything. And he'll just look at me and be like, "Babe, you want to go get something to eat?" And I'm like, "Okay."
So is there any more questions? It said, what if you got a collect call from Shoo? What would you do through your mind?
I've gotten those from him. He had recently went back for something that was very stupid. And when he did, I got the collect call, and come to find out a lot of things weren't done. And he spent 46 days in there in the county. And when I got that collect call, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I went literally, I found his parole officer, got him assigned a parole officer, stayed in touch with her, made sure she had the documents that she needed, and he was out in 46 days instead of 3 months.
Do anybody else got any more questions in the chat? Now's the time. The floor is open, not the day room. The floor is open. East Birmingham, the TV, the mayor of East Birmingham. I'd like to interview Shoo. Like I said earlier, Shoo is the realest that has to step in the day room. I said King Shu is the realest that have ever stepped in the day room.
I admire that. He is. Thank you.
Anybody else got any more questions? Black Home says she just loved the man. That's it. I did time, so I know how it is.
I do. I love him wholeheartedly.
The man himself has just entered the building.
There's baby.
What it do? What it do, man?
What's good, Shoo, man?
Man, cooling, man, cooling. Just got through messing with my dog.
And that's facts, man. I will say this, man. Behind every strong man is a strong woman, and this is what you got, and she represents you well outside of your presence. And that's facts, man. And I salute her for just having the courage to come to the day room. Because we all know sometimes the day room can get out of hand. We lost Shoo. There he is. So we all know sometimes the day room can get out of hand, right, Shoo?
Right.
But I want to ask you this, man. Your Youre right here, right?
Right.
What is your actual thoughts of her and the part that she plays in your life?
You say what?
What is your actual thoughts of her and the part that she plays in your life?
Say that one more time, Wood. This nigga Block C just pulled up. He goddamn me lost in the South.
I'm gonna ask you this, man. What is your actual thoughts of her and the part that she plays in your life?
Oh man, I mean shit. Like that boy say, you're a reflection of me, man. She matched my fly, Hollywood. You feel me? mean, I can't say it no better, man. She matched my fly. You dig?
And that's facts, man. What I want to do here, because this was a comeback from when you did your one-on-one personal, right? And this is the reason why she wanted to come to the screen and give her spiel and let the people know that she in support of what you do and how you do it.
Right.
And she respect you to the utmost, which is important in any relationship, right? So I take my hat off to that, because that don't always happen, right? I thought it just happened with me, but it's different. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to do today, man, I see Percy in the building, man. Shout out OG Percy. It's all love over here. We just turned a new leaf. So what I want to do, Shoo, I want to let her close the show out on her note, man.
That's a bet. Appreciate you, OG. Appreciate you, King Shu. You representing well, man. Hey, man, this is what we do, man, on OG Hollywood. Speaks out. You dig what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all tuning in. Who tuned in, man? It's all love, man. Shout out to you too, OG First. Show no mercy. That's the way you dedication, huh? Peace and blessings, man.
And that's facts. So, this is what I normally do at the end of the show. I always let the person that's being interviewed show up and show out, like we do over here, right? So, however you choose to close this show, whoever you choose to give a shout out to, whether it be somebody on your unit at the hospital, because I know it's a unit, because I got a daughter that's a registered nurse in the trauma department. So I know everybody has a unit, and you might have girls watching this, because I know how that go.
Yeah.
I just want to appreciate you for coming over here and giving your spiel.
No problem.
Because it takes courage to come over here and to say what you said, and not only that, stand in solidarity with a man that has been through trauma for a long time. So at this time, I let you close this show out on your note.
Thank you for having me on your show. I want to give a shout out to my sister for loving me, always being there for me, always praying for me. Shout out to my mom for always loving me, praying for me. And most definitely shout out to OG Percy. I watch you. I love your show. And I thank you guys for listening to me and tuning in. And until next time, peace out.
Salute.